I thought Lou made a very solid point, and I'm embarrassed I hadn't thought of it before, which is this is, among other things, whatever these objects are, a potentially very grave threat to nation states. So where was the intelligence community in warning about this and learning more about it? Where were they?
Well, that has to be answered, absolutely. I mean, we are under siege. It's like there's a war of nerves going on, and if this was drones belonging to a foreign adversary, there would be an absolute outcry. And yet, the situation we're in, that we don't know what these things are, and they might even be extraterrestrial, that's worse. So I agree with Luis Elizondo on this. This is a potential catastrophic failure of intelligence. And if it happened because skeptical bureaucrats were just saying to themselves, it can't be, therefore it isn't, then there must be a reckoning.
So you say, and that is such a great point and nicely put, but you described it as a siege. Give our viewers who don't follow this topic closely a sense of the magnitude of data coming in about these encounters.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely extraordinary. And every day it seems like new information drops, things that the public and the media weren't told. So, for example, former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe just threw into the conversation the other day the fact that the satellite imagery of all this and some of the speeds being reported seem to blow the theory about foreign drones out of the water. We must be told what's going on here, and we should think of this upcoming report to Congress as an intelligence assessment of the phenomenon itself, and one that's long overdue.
There are a lot of these. This is not like, you know, some drunk guy in a rural road in northern New Hampshire saw something weird. I mean, this is the U.S. military regularly, very often, recording these objects.
Yes, absolutely. It's pilots, it's radar operators, it's satellite data, it's measurement and signature intelligence. There's such a lot of information now, so much that the US Navy has instructions for its pilots on what to do if they encounter these things. Now, I think as we go into May, in the run-up to this report going to Congress, there's going to be a lot of things going on behind the scenes, a lot of politicking, jockeying for position, factions trying to kind of have their say on this. I anticipate more leaks of information, photos, videos, documents. There's a lot more to come here.
Nick Pope has been on this for so long. I appreciate your steadfast commitment to answering obvious questions. You know, what is this? Thank you.
some, it is still a mystery. Thousands of cows mutilated in New Mexico and other states.
One investigator did determine that there was really nothing strange or unusual. But what did the FBI have to say about that?
Think of these as spirits, because that's what they are. They're spirits that destroy and spoil. They'll spoil relationships. They devour people so that they cannot have good fellowship with other people. They devour families. Husbands and wives fighting all the time, parents fighting children, children fighting parents, siblings fighting each other. This is what worms do. They just eat and devour and destroy and take. Palmer worm hath left, the locust hath eaten. And that which the locust hath left, hath the canker worm eaten. Canker, that word canker is used in the New Testament. They doth eat as a canker. So what is canker? Is cancer. And what is a cancer? It is a mass of cells that have been corrupted by evil communications. Let's say it's a church member, a church pew sitter, or somebody in the family that's been corrupted. The DNA has been corrupted. It's not the same. And every cell in my body, in its genetic makeup, has what's called programmed cell death. That the cell, once it has performed its function, once it is divided and performed whatever function it needs to do, it serves for a while and then it dies to make room for other newborn cells. But when you have cancer, the cancer, it just so happens that it corrupts the DNA that tells it to die. That's why cancer tumors and cancer cells have to be caught early, because if you don't, they don't die. They just keep procreating and eating, procreating and eating, procreating and eating, but not dying. This is why cancer kills people. It just eats up their body. A cankerworm, and that which the cankerworm hath left hath the caterpillar eaten. So we have 4 worms in this passage. And what he's telling you is that these are spirits. The locust. We have the locust army. They have the cheek teeth of a lion. That's Revelation 9. And then in Joel chapter 2, you see that they have, they sound like chariots and horses running to battle, and so on and so on and so on. Absolutely, this book is amazing to me. I love it. Now, this is going to blow your mind. I remembered when I started going back on this research into UFOs. I remembered years ago reading this or looking into it, and I was stunned all the way back then. And I could not for the life of me remember where I read this. And a guy, I've had people send me stuff over the years. A guy sent me a thumb drive. It's got like 600 some odd books on UFOs and aliens and everything. So anyway, I'm going back through some of these books, and I find this one, the Andreasen Affair. A woman by the name of Betty Andreasen claims she was abducted as a child. This went on throughout her childhood. Now, a lot of you told me that you have had UFO/alien experiences, and when you mentioned the name Jesus, they left. Betty Andreasen claims to be a fundamentalist Alabama Christian, the Bible Belt. After going back over some of the material from this book, there's another book that came out before this, the Andreasen Affair. I am absolutely convinced she's a plant. Not like a rose bush or something like that. She's there to cause quote-unquote Christians to accept these gods as the saviors of mankind. And I'm going to show you why I say that. She had all these abduction things. She gets into this regression. They hypnotize her. She is told by these aliens that they're going to take her back to this beautiful world that is, the aliens say, we're going to show you your home, where you came from. John Mack, the Harvard psychiatrist, in his book about abductions, he writes in there that a lot of the people who claim to be abductees, after being shown a place that the aliens say is where the aliens live and it's where the humans come from back, 65 million years ago or whatever, after actually seeing that place, they don't want to go back to Earth. Most abductees, under hypnosis, start crying when the aliens say it's time to take you back and put you back in your bed. They start crying. They say, we don't want to go back to Earth. Earth is bad. We want to live here. People, I'm telling you, a setup is going on. Let me show you what's in this book. This is Betty Andreasen. She's under hypnosis. And here In the book, they photographed her. She's speaking in tongues. I got to hit a button for this one. Wrong button. She's speaking in an unknown tongue. She's speaking in an alien language. People, are you hearing this? She is supposedly one of these Pentecostal, Deep South Pentecostal Christians who, under hypnotic regression, is having these gods speak through her in an unknown. God told Israel in Deuteronomy 28 that he would send against them a nation of fierce countenance, a nation whose tongue they would not understand. This is Betty Andreessen's face. She's reliving. Now I got to set this up. The aliens take her to a place. They're going to show her this huge door. Behind this door, they say, is the One. The One. Capital O. You know who that is in New Age talk? That's the Antichrist. That's the one who's going to come and make everything better for this planet. He's the one that's going to save this world. The One. Neo was the One in the Matrix. Jet Li was the One in, what was that movie? It was called The One. And Betty Andreessen was taken in an alien spaceship by these gray aliens to this off-world planet. And look at her face. It's like she's in heaven. She regresses and she remembers as a child, in her backyard, there was this thing flying around her head that she thought was a bee. She called it a bee. But notice this. It touched her forehead and she fell backward like slain in the spirit. That's what I read years ago. I read this years ago, and I'm going, are you I know what's behind this. I know the spirit that is behind this. Her experience with gray aliens is no different than the Pentecostal experience of being slain in the spirit. No difference. This is how the aliens got her to go along with what was being done to her. So she goes to this home planet. She says, absolutely the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. You saw her facial expression. She's being led to this. Here's the door. Behind this door is an entity called the One. But I'm to the part where the hypnotist, every time he takes her to relive going through the door, he asks her over and over, tell me what you saw behind the door. And she says, I can't. She repeatedly says, I can't tell you. Why? Because I can't tell you. They don't want me to tell you, so I'm not going to tell you. Over and over and over again, the hypnotist is trying to tell us what's behind that door. And she says, I'm not telling you what's behind there. But it's the One. He's behind there. But she doesn't tell what she saw. People, that is the exact opposite of the Apostle John. What Jesus showed John in the Spirit, Jesus said, write it all down. Write everything down. Now, here's what's interesting. She's describing this. She said there seemed to be two other tall people like the one who led me from the door to the mirror shell. They were standing farther away with palms in their hands. And this is the place the aliens said that's where your home is. People, get ready. Get ready. Think Bible. Get in your Bible. Anchor yourself with the Word of God. This is the image of what happens in a Masonic lodge. The first 3 degrees, it's called the Blue Lodge. You have the first 3 degrees, and I think it's the 3rd degree. You know, have you ever heard somebody say, man, he was giving me the 3rd degree in there? It comes from Masonry. That idea of the 3rd degree comes from Masonry. Because in Masonry, in the 3rd degree, you are portraying the role of a character out of the Bible named Hiram Abiff. Hiram was the builder of the temple. Now, the Masons take that story and they twist it and they wrest it and they make things out of it that it's not there. But the idea is that you, as a candidate for Masonry, you are smitten 3 times. Think of that number 3, what it represents. Not God the Father, Son, that's not it. Even though that number 3 does represent the Godhead, it represents the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. And those 3 things you've been smitten with. The man of sin is all 3 of those bound up in one. But anyway, in the Masonic Lodge, you're smitten 3 times. You're smitten once in the left breast, you're smitten once in the neck, and then you're smitten in your forehead. Now, you want to hear something real creepy? Aside from all the conspiracy theories about what happened, Dealey Plaza, November 11th, 1963, we know forensically for a fact that there were 3 wounds that were inflicted by the assassin's bullets at Dealey Plaza. One wound was through Connolly's left breast. The other wound was through Kennedy's neck. The 3rd one was Kennedy's head. I'm not dun. I mean, to me, there is a Masonic spirit there at Dealey Plaza, November 22nd, 1963. Kennedy was 46 years old. 46, that number, the number of chromosomes, the number, I mean, I could go all day on that, but I don't want to. But anyway, when the candidate is hit on the head, when he's hit on the head, he falls backward because that represents his death, and you have these guys catching him. Now, I went to a church where they hit me on the head, and I was supposed to fall backwards, and I didn't. God didn't let me. And I'm thankful for that, because they came and did it twice. They went by, laid hands on me. There was people behind me who was supposed to catch me because I was supposed to fall backwards because that's what everybody else was doing. And I had prayed, God, please don't. If this is not of you, I don't want it. And so God did not let me fall for that. And I'm so thankful to be where I am today, doing what I'm doing today, because I didn't fall backward for that. God didn't let me. But everybody else in that church was falling backward. And they call it slain in the Spirit. I absolutely do. Babylon the Great's the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. See that number? See the word bird? They're not just like robins and sparrows and cardinals and little Tweety birds. They're not those. They're talking about devils. Unclean and hateful birds that are full of hate. They are bitter, evil, mean spirits is what that means. They are foul spirits. They smell. People who have interactions with these aliens say the stench is unbearable. Even Whitley Strieber said the stench, I couldn't. Travis Walton, when he woke up and found himself on this alien ship, he said that he could barely breathe in there. The air was so stagnant and so foul. Sulfur. Strieber said there was like the odor of like burnt cardboard and cinnamon. I don't know what that's about. Habitation of devils, hold of every foul spirit, cage of every unclean and hateful bird. 4 things. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Her fornication. Where do you think?
What we think is going on here, because eggs are taken and sperm is taken, that they are joined together in vitro. They are joined together outside, and at that point, either DNA is added or the fertilized egg is altered in some way. And when that happens, we posited that you're going to get a bell-shaped curve, that some are going to look really alien, some are going to look really human, and most are going to be in the middle. What we've also learned is that what they then do is take the DNA from one of these hybrid children and inject that into the embryo, and then you get a skewed bell-shaped curve where some of them look alien, a lot look in the middle, and a lot more look a lot more human. Then you take DNA from that generation and do the same thing, and you keep doing it over and over and over again until pretty soon you get hybrids that look very human. There's slight differences, but very human. And that is in fact what we have been seeing, much to our amazement and chagrin.
Superhumans could exist in just 15 years thanks to a computer chip inserted into the brain to unlock mankind's full potential. Now, I want you to think about that phrase right there. Mankind's full potential. And they're going to do what with it? Unlock it. Right now it's locked up. Listen to me now. What man is fully capable of has not been seen yet. And I'm going to think Bible on this. The wickedness and the deceitfulness of the heart of man is his potential, and it has not been fully realized yet. There's something in us that's locked up, and it needs to be unlocked and released. The full potential of what man is capable of is called the man of sin. He is the sum total of all wickedness combined. He is human potential. He right now is locked up. And according to Revelation 9, a star falling from heaven is going to get the key and unlock man's full potential. Colonel's first step is to design the chips that can help fight disease, but then it hopes to evolve the brain to offer superhuman abilities. That's God. That's a God. Ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Your eyes will be open, and ye shall be as gods. We're talking about the end of what it means to be human. And according to the biblical record, the covenant of God is only offered to genetic human being men, persons, things. Only the covenant of God for eternal life is only offered to the species of mankind, human.
wymyślili COVID-a, wpuścili bakterie, no i dzieci mają problem, bo już mówią o 4. COVID-zie. Rok walczą i mają problemy z mutacjami, ze szczepionkami. Okazuje się, że ich teorie się w niczym nie sprawdzają, bo w zeszłym roku o takim czasie mówili nam, jak będzie 20 stopni, choroba będzie pokonana. Następnie wygłosili teorię, że jak ktoś już raz zachorował, drugi raz nie zachoruje. A tu się okazuje, że chorują po raz drugi i umierają. W związku z tym mówią wypadek przy pracy lub błąd medyczny. Teraz nas szczepiają, mówią, że już 10 milionów wyszczepiali Polaków, czy 4 miliony, no więc powinno być przynajmniej o 10% czy 20% mniej. A codziennie nam mówią, że mamy rekordy. Gdzie ta szczepionka? Gdzie to działanie? I mówią, że my damy rady. Niemcy mają problem, jak się szczepiać. Czy Sputnik, czy jakieś tam audio rozwrzeszczani. Niemcy już na ulicę wychodzą, wrzeszczą, nie wytrzymują. Ci znowu mówią, nie przeszczepiam przez przestrzeni, nie mają maseczek. A jak do Łańcuta przyjęli ostatnio Żydzi na grób swojego cadyka, przyjęło ich 1000. Te dzieci, nikt nie miał maseczki, nie było tutti odległości. Nikt nic nie mówił. W Polsce nikt nic nie powiedział, że się łamie prawa sanitarne. I tak, dzieci, ta komedia już trwa ponad rok, a tu Pan zmartwychwstaje i też mówi do nas konkretnie, słuchać uważnie. Moja twarz była poobijana.